What is the sum of negative 7 and positive 2? Find out in this video. Good day, learners! Today we're going to talk about operations on integers. So first, what is integer? So integer or integers includes counting numbers, 0, and the negative of the counting numbers. It can be illustrated in a number line as, so again, ang integers binubuo ito ng So the first operation that we're going to discuss today is how to add integers. So to illustrate the process of adding integers, we're going to make use of algebra disk. Now suppose we have two types of disk, the blue disk and the red disk. So yung blue disk, it will represent the positive integer, and the red disk will represent the negative integer. The blue disk will represent positive 1, while the red disk will represent negative 1. So tatandaan natin na pag ang isang positive disk at ang isang negative disk ay kinombine together, makakabuo tayo ng 0 pair. So ibig sabihin nito, positive 1 plus negative 1 is equal to 0, since they are additive inverse of each other. Now, let's consider the following examples. Example number 1, we have positive 3 plus positive 1. So, first thing, we need to draw the disk. So, yung positive 3, we're going to represent it by 3 blue disks. At yung positive 1 naman, we're going to represent it by 1 blue disk. So, since pareha silang positive, hindi tayo makakabuo ng 0 pair. So, ang gagawin lang natin is bibilangin lahat ng positive disk or blue disk. So, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, madaling salita, the sum of positive 3 and positive 1 is equal to positive 4. Now, how about if we have negative 2 plus negative 6? Again, we're going to draw the following using the blue and the red disk. So since negative parehas yung ginamit natin, red disk lang yung gagamitin natin. So yung negative 2 will be represented by 2 red disks, at yung negative 6 naman will be represented by 6 red disks. So gaya ng sa number 1, hindi tayo makakabuo ng 0 pair kasi nga parehas silang negative. So, ang gagawin lang natin is bibilangin lahat ng red disk. So, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Therefore, ang sum ng negative 2 at negative 6 ay equal to negative 8. Now, what if magkaiba yung sign ng dalawang integers? Suppose we have positive 4 plus negative 5. Again, ang positive 4 will be represented by 4 blue disks. At ang negative 5 naman will be represented by 5 red disks. So since magkaiba ang kanilang sign, titignan natin kung ilang 0 pairs yung mabubuo natin. So again, ang isang blue disk ay pwede nating ipare sa isang red disk. So kung titignan natin, makakabuo tayo ng 4 na pares. So itong 4 na pares ng blue at ng red disk ay magiging equal to 0 kasi nga sila ay additive inverse. After natin makuha yung 0 pairs, bibilangin natin kung ilan yung natira na integer. Kung titignan natin, isang red disk ang natira. At ang isang red disk na ito ay nagre-represent ng negative 1. Sa madaling salita, ang sagot sa 4 plus negative 5 is equal to negative 1. How about the next example? Suppose we have negative 7 plus positive 2. So yung negative 7 will be represented by 7 red discs at yung positive 2 naman will be represented by 2 blue discs. Again, titignan natin ilang pares ng 0 pairs yung mabubuo natin. Ang bawat red disc ay ipapares natin sa blue disc. So makikita natin na makakabuo lang tayo ng dalawang pares ng 0 pair. At ang bawat pares na ito ay magiging equal to 0. Ngayon, bibilangin natin kung ilang disc ang natira. So, ang natirang disc ay 5 red disc. Sa madaling salita, ang sagot sa negative 7 plus positive 2 would be equal to negative 5. So, using the concept of algebra disc, we can derive the rules in adding integers with like or unlike signs. So, if we're going to add integers with like signs, ito lang yung tatandaan natin. We have L, A, C. L stands for like signs, A for add their absolute values, C for copy their common signs. At pagdating naman sa pag-add ng mga integers with unlike signs, we have U, S, G. So, U stands for unlike signs, S stands for subtract their absolute values, and G stands for greater absolute value. Okay, let's try adding integers. So this time, we're going to combine how we're going to add integers with like signs or unlike signs. Again, yung tatandaan lang natin yung acronym na binigay ko kanina. So when we say like, again, L stands for like signs, A for add their absolute values, and C for common sign. At pag sinabi naman natin USG, we have unlike signs, subtract their absolute values, then G for greater absolute values. So, iisa-isahin natin ang mga integers na given sa ating activity. Tapos, titingnan natin kung ano yung gagamitin natin. Would it be yung LAC or yung USG? Let's try example number 1. So, we have positive 5 plus positive 3. So, pinakauna natin gagawin is we need to decide kung ano yung gagamitin natin na process. LAC or USG. So, since they are both positive, ibig sabihin, parehas sila ng sign, therefore, we're going to use LAC. So, like signs, then A, we're going to add their absolute values. Ano ang absolute value ng 5? Ang absolute value ng 5 is 5, at ang absolute value naman ng 3 is 3. So after getting their absolute values, we're going to add their absolute values. So 5 plus 3 is equal to 8. Okay. So we're going to write here 8. Now, yung last step, we're going to copy the common sign. Ano yung sign na common sa dalawang integers? So, since they are both positive, therefore ang common sign nila ay positive, kaya ang final answer natin would be positive 8. Okay. How about number 2? We have negative 4 plus negative 2. Again, LAC or USG. So again, we're going to use LAC. Kasi nga para silang negative. After that, we're going to add their absolute values. Anong absolute value ni negative 4? Ang absolute value ni negative 4 is 4. At ang absolute value naman ni negative 2 is 2. So magiging 4 plus 2, that will be equal to 6. Okay. Okay, this is not yet the final answer. Titingnan pa natin yung last na step. Ang last na step is that we need to copy their common sign. Yung sinasabi ko na common sign is magbe-base tayo dun sa original. Okay. Ano ang sign ng dalawang integers? Okay, ang sign ng dalawang integers ay negative. So common sa kanilang dalawa ang negative sign. Kaya ang susundin natin na sign sa ating answer would be negative. Therefore, our answer will be negative 6. Now, how about number 3? We have negative 6 plus negative 3. So again, since they have the same sign or like signs, we're going to use LAC. Okay? Like signs. Next, add their absolute values. Anong absolute value ni 6? negative 6. Ang absolute value ni negative 6 ay 6. At ang absolute value naman ni negative 3 ay 3. So 6 plus 3 is equal to 9. Okay. Then last step, copy their common sign. Okay, since common sa kanila or parehas silang negative, therefore the final answer is also negative. So ang final answer natin ay negative 9. Okay, next example, we have 9 plus 8. Okay, or positive 9 plus positive 8. So since parehas sila ng sign, again, gagamitin natin ang acronym or ang process na LA. So like signs, add their absolute values. Ang absolute value ni 9 is 9. Ang absolute value naman ni 8 is also 8. So 9 plus 8, we have 17. Then, copy their common sign. Ano yung common sa kanila na sign? Parehas silang positive. Now, since parehas silang positive, ang sagot natin ay magiging positive also. Now, ang tanong, sir, kailangan pa bang ilagay yung plus na sign o yung positive na sign? So, automatic pag walang sign sa unahan ng integer, that is already considered as positive. So, pwede na natin hindi siya lagyan ng plus sign. Okay. Let's have example number 5. We have negative 5 plus 3. So, kung mapapansin natin yung sign ng unang integer is negative, yung sign naman ng pangalawang integer is positive. So, they are integers with unlike signs. So, since we have unlike signs, therefore, we're going to use USG. Okay? Unlike signs, subtract their absolute value. Okay, same tayo kanina. Anong absolute value ng negative 5? Ang absolute value ng negative 5 is positive 5. Ang absolute value naman ng positive 3 is positive 3. So, isa-subtract natin yung mas maliit sa mas malaki. So, that would be 5 minus 3. So, 5 minus 3 would be equal to 2. Okay. Now, sa last step, kailangan natin mag-decide kung saan sa dalawa ang may greater absolute value. So, sa last step na G, ibig sabihin nito, we're going to copy the sign of the integer with the greater absolute value. Okay. Negative 5 and positive 3, yung kinuha natin na absolute values nila, sino ang mas malaki na, sino ang may mas malaking absolute value? Ang may mas malaking absolute value is ang negative 5. Tama? Kaya, we're going to copy the sign of 5, which is negative. Therefore, our final answer will become negative 2. Okay. How about number 6? We have positive 4 plus negative 2. Since unlike signs, we're going to follow USG. Unlike signs, then subtract their absolute values. Absolute value ng positive 4 is 4. Absolute value naman ng negative 12 is positive 12. Okay, so magiging 12 minus 4. Again, yung mas malaki, babawasan yung ng mas maliit na number. So, 12 minus 4, you will have 8. This is not yet the final answer. Pupusin muna tayo dun sa last na step. Last na step, copy the sign of the integer with the greater absolute value. Okay. Sa 4 at saka sa negative 12, sino ang mas may malaking absolute value? Okay. Ang may mas malaking absolute value is si 12. Okay. Ano yung sign ni 12? Ang sign ni 12 is negative. Therefore, ito yung kukopyahin natin na sign. So, ang final answer natin would become negative 8. Okay. How about number 7? We have positive 10 plus negative 7. Again, unlike yung signs ng dalawang integers, therefore, USG ang gagamitin. Okay. Unlike signs, subtract their absolute values. Anong absolute value ni 10? Absolute value ni 10 is positive 10. Ang absolute value naman ni negative 7 is positive 7. So, we're going to subtract them. We will have 10 minus 7. Okay. 10 minus 7, that will become 3. Now, ano ang magiging sign ng ating final answer? So, sa dalawang binigay na integers, sino ang may mas malaking absolute value? Okay. Ang mas malaking absolute value sa kanila ay si 10. Now, since si 10 ang mas may malaking absolute value, ano yung sign ni 10? Ang sign ni 10 is positive. Kaya, ang magiging final answer natin would also be positive. Okay. So, the final answer will be positive 3. Again, automatic or hindi na kailangan pang isulat yung plus na sign. Basta, positive yung sagot natin. How about number 8? So, we have negative 20 plus 2. Unlike signs, so USG pa rin. Unlike signs, subtract their absolute value. Ang absolute value na negative 20 is positive 20. Ang absolute value naman ni positive 2 is 2. So, magiging 20 minus 2. 20 minus 2, you will have 18. Then last step, copy the sign of the number with the greater absolute value. So, sa 20 at 2, ang may mas malaking absolute value ay ang 20. So, ano yung sign ni 20? Ang sign ni 20 is negative. Kaya, ang final answer natin ay magiging negative. So, the final answer is negative 18. Okay, let's have this one. Negative 13 plus 5. Or negative 13 plus positive 5. So, we're going to decide log or USG. So, since unlike signs sila, we're going to follow USG. Okay. Unlike signs, subtract their absolute values. Anong absolute value ng negative 13? That is positive 13. Ang absolute value naman ni 5 is positive 5. So, 13 minus 5 is equal to 8. Now, kaninong sign yung kokopyahin natin? Yung sign ng integer na may greater absolute value. So, sa dalawa, ang may greater absolute value is ang 13. So, ano yung sign ng 13? Ang sign ng 13 is negative. Kaya, ang final answer natin would be negative 8. Okay, how about number 10? So, we have 30 and negative 6. So, 30 plus negative 6, again, they have unlike signs. Therefore, USG yung gagamitin natin. Absolute value ni 30 is 30. Absolute value ni negative 6 is 6. So, 30 minus 6. 30 minus 6, we have 24. Sino ang may mas malaking absolute value? So, ang may malaking absolute value is si 30. So, since si 30 ang mas may malaking absolute value, susundin natin at kukopyahin natin ang kanyang sign. Ano ang sign 30? Ang sign niya ay positive. Kaya, ang final answer natin would be positive 24. Okay. Number 11, we have negative 7 plus 9. So again, they have unlike signs. USG pa rin yung gagamitin natin. So, we're going to subtract. Okay. So, negative, absolute value ng negative 7 is 7. Absolute value naman ni 9 is 9. So, that is 9 minus 7. 9 minus 7, you will have 2. Okay. Next, kokopyahin yung sign ng integer na may greater absolute value. Okay, so the number with the greater absolute value is 9. So, what is the sign of 9? So, ang sign ng 9 is positive. Kaya, yun yung susundin natin sa final answer. Therefore, ang final answer natin is positive 2. Okay, let's have the last one. The last one, we have negative 4 plus negative 3. Okay, log or USG. So, since pareha silang negative, ibig sabihin they have like signs, we're going to use log. Okay? Like signs, add their absolute values. So, anong absolute value ng negative 14? We will have positive 14. Anong absolute value naman ng negative 3? That is positive 3. So, since log, we're going to add their absolute value. So, 14 plus 3 is equal to 17. And, ang last step, copy their common sign. Ano yung sign na common sa kanila? Or sign na magkapareha sila? So, since pareha silang negative, therefore, yung common sign nila is negative. So, ang final answer natin would be negative 17. Now, how about subtracting integers? So, ito yung tatandaan natin na rules or process pag magsasubtract tayo ng integers. First is we need to change the sign of the subtrahend. Then second, we're going to proceed to addition. Kung ano man yung rules na ginawa natin sa addition is gagawin pa rin natin sa pagdating sa subtraction of integers. Halimbawa, we have 10 minus 3. So again, yung first step, we need to change the subtrahend. Ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng subtrahend? So yung first na number, we call this one as our minuend. At ang second naman na integer, we call this one as our subtrahend. So yung subtrahend, siya yung integer na sinasubtract natin from the first integer. So we need to change the sign of the subtrahend and proceed to addition. So we have 10 plus negative 3. So yung minuend, we just need to copy it or bring down. Tapos, from subtraction, sabi dito that we need to proceed to addition. And of course, yung subtrahend dapat, and of course, yung subtrahend, kailangan natin i-change ang kanyang sign. So yung positive 3, magiging negative 3. Okay. Then, yung rules na gagamitin natin dito is same lang kanina. So we have la and USG. So we have positive 10 and negative 3. So ano yung gagamitin natin? La or USG? So ang gagamitin natin ay USG kasi nga they have unlike signs. So U for unlike signs, then S we're going to subtract their absolute value. So anong absolute value ng 10? Ang absolute value ng 10 is 10 at ang absolute value naman ng negative 3 is 3. So magiging 10 minus 3, that is equal to 7. Then G, copy the sign of the integer with the greater absolute value. So sa kanilang dalawa, mas malaki yung absolute value ni 10. So ano yung sign ni 10? Ang sign ni 10 is positive. Kaya yung final answer natin is magiging positive 7. Okay, let's proceed to number 2. We have negative 6 minus negative 4. Again, we're going to change the subtrahend, then proceed to addition. So copy lang yung minuend ng negative 6 plus, proceed to addition, then yung negative 4 na subtrahend, magbabago ang kanyang sign, magiging positive 4. Ngayon, magde-decide na naman tayo kung la or USG yung gagamitin natin. Now, since they have unlike signs, so ang gagamitin natin is USG. Unlike signs, then subtract their absolute values. So we have negative 6. Ang absolute value niya is positive 6. Ang absolute value naman ni 4 is positive 4. So, positive 6 minus 4 is equal to 2. Then, G, copy the sign of the integer with the greater absolute value. So, sa kanilang dalawa, yung mas may malaking absolute value is si 6. So, ano ang sign ni 6? Ang sign ni 6 is negative. Kaya ang final answer natin ay magiging negative. How about number 3? We have negative 8 minus positive 12. So, copy yung minuend, then change the sign of the subtrahend and proceed to addition. So, magiging plus, then yung positive 12 magiging negative 12. Okay, so since we're going to proceed to addition, magde-decide again tayo kung la ba or USG. So since they have the same signs, we're going to use la or like signs, add, then copy the common sign. Like signs, then we're going to add their absolute value. Absolute value of negative 8 is positive 8. Absolute value of negative 12 is positive 12. So 8 plus 12, you will have 20. Then, copy their common sign. Ano yung sign na magkapareha sa kanila? So, they have negative as their common sign. Therefore, yung final answer natin would be negative 20. Okay. How about number 4? We have negative 9 minus positive 2. So, change the sign of the subtrahend, then proceed to addition. So, negative 2 ngayon magiging, so ang positive 2 ngayon magiging negative 2. Like or unlike? So, we have like signs. So, we're going to proceed with la. Okay. Like signs, add their absolute value. Anong absolute value ng 9? That is positive 9. Ang absolute value naman ng negative 2, that is positive 2. So, So 9 plus 2, you will have 11. Then copy their common sign, which is negative. So the final answer will be negative 11. Number 5, you have negative 13 minus negative 17. Okay. Change the sign of the subtrahend, then proceed to addition. So copy lang yung minuin na negative 13. Proceed to addition, kaya yung minus magiging plus sign. At change the sign of the subtrahend. So yung negative 7 ngayon magiging positive 7. Okay. LAP or USG. So we're going to use USG kasi they have unlike signs. So what's the absolute value of negative 13? That is 13. What's the absolute value of 7? That is 7. 13 minus 7, that is equal to 6. Then, copy the sign of the integer with a greater absolute value. So, mas malaki yung absolute value ng 13. Kaya yung sign yung sign ng 13 yung ipapalo natin. So, anong sign ng 13? Ang sign niya is negative. Kaya, ang final answer natin would be negative 6. Okay, down with our last example. We have negative 20 minus 18. Copy yung minuin. Change the sign of the subtrahend and proceed to addition. So, magiging plus. Ang positive 18 magiging negative. Okay, LAP or USG. So, we're going to use LAP because they have the same signs or like signs. So, absolute value of negative 20 is 20. Absolute value of negative 18 is 18, positive 18. So, 20 plus 18, you will have 38. So, again, ang last step ng LAP is yung C. Copy their common sign. Ano yung common sign ng dalawa? Ang common sign ng dalawa is yung negative sign. So, ang final answer natin would be negative 38. Now it's your turn. Try to answer the following questions. And that's a wrap. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, Sir Ninyo. And you can also post your math problems in the comment section. And we will do our very best to provide solution to your questions. Because remember, every problem has a solution. At kung math ang problema ninyo, ako ang kaagapay ninyo, ako ang Sir Ninyo.